Hey Frank, where are you right now? You look like you're having a blast somewhere in some...
I'm enjoying water on a terrace, Panama City, Panama, not Florida, Panama,
Oh.
Republic of Panama.
Oh, okay. Well, what is there to like about Panama?
Panama City, you mean?
Well, the locals call it Panama. They don't say city.
That's right. When you're somewhere outside of Panama City and you want to come back to Panama City, they say, you know, head back towards Panama. They don't say Panama City. Anyhow, first impressions, Panama City is well, it's tropical. You know, it's when you look at the thermometer gauge, you know, you might see figures like 87 to 89 degrees, but the weather is very subject to cloud cover, and during the rainy season, which we're in, you get quite a bit of cloud cover, and it's really soothing and cooling. And then if you don't have cloud cover, it's a clear day, and then it's pretty hot. So it feels hotter than what the thermometer gauge says. Like today, like the wind was blowing, and it you know, it felt quite comfortable. But regardless, in the afternoons, you know, you're in the tropics, and you don't want to have to be doing anything in the afternoons. Now, what's pleasant, real pleasant about Panama City, Panama, is that it was very surprising, and not surprising, but it was comforting to know that the buses are air conditioned, the subway is air conditioned, the taxis are air conditioned, the stores are air conditioned, the malls are air conditioned, and so you get a break from that heat. But even so, you still want to, you know, it's much more comfortable to just relax during the afternoons at between 12 and 3:30. It's really treacherous to run around and do things, but it's very pleasant to take the afternoon and just to be in an air-conditioned place for lunch or whatever. It's also very pleasant after 4 p.m. You know, the sun starts going down, and it's amazingly much more comfortable. It doesn't retain the afternoon heat for very long, so it cools off. It doesn't get super chilly. It's not mountains, but it's a very pleasant relief when 4 o'clock rolls around, and it's pretty nice in the morning. It's sticky, it's humid, but it's still very nice. So it's got a really nice weather pattern on a daily basis. Even though you're in the tropics and it's tropical, it still has daily microclimates, and you know, you look forward to 4:30, 4 p.m. and it's very comforting, because you know, it's shorts weather. It's what, eternal summer. You know, it's like eternal summer. So I'm sure it's got its dry season. It's feels a lot hotter. So so I was pleasantly surprised with the bus system's been updated. Pretty amazing, brand new buses that are air conditioned. The subway's amazing. I mean, it is so fast. Today we went to, we're not super far from the mall, but to be able to go from your hotel room, get on a subway,
Albrook Mall,
and go to the mall, right? And we did some shopping. We didn't just go in, you know, and come back out. We did some shopping. We bought a bag, came back out, came back to hotel room,
bought
round
a
trip.
satchel.
Bought a satchel bag, yeah. And it was an hour. Did all that in an hour. And this is Central America, you know, and this is a big city, Panama City. And to be able to do that, I mean, if you took a regular bus, I mean, yeah, you can take taxis, but the subways are clean, they're conditioned.
How much are the taxis in Panama City?
Panama City, there are, the fares are pretty reasonable, but you have some tourist spots where they do try to get tourist pricing. You know, if you're coming out of a mall, if you're coming from the airport, if you're coming from the bus station, you know, the fares are jacked up, but of course we don't pay them. It's funny, I told the guy said $4 from the terminal to the hotel, and I said no, $3, and he just looked at me like $3, and I said yeah, $3. And he said, okay.
Now, haven't you had some taxi drivers also, several of them, that said, how much do you want to pay?
A lot of taxi drivers will ask you, how much have you been charged?
Okay.
So if you don't know, because you just got here, you know, you need to understand what the fares are. But, you know, whatever, people, tourists, they end up paying tourist prices. It happens. But getting away from that, what's pleasant here is that the transportation system, I like the subway. It only covers a certain area of the city, and if that's the area that you're mostly in, that's good, because you can come back and forth on that subway. Once you know how to take it, it's really fast. You go down to the subway, and it seems to always be there within 1 or 2 or 3 minutes. Boom, the subway arrives, and you get on and you get off, and I mean, you get off in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Of course, we're only going 2 stops, but you know, subway, no traffic. You know, it's like tram but underground.
Is there walking or bike trails or anything like that for people that like to do
Well,
that kind of thing?
there are people on bikes, but you know, to each his own. I mean, you're in the tropics, and Balboa, the coastal belt, is a tourist zone. There are people on bikes there, and it's got a bike trail. But again, it's in the tropics. You have to be used to the heat, you know, and afternoon heat and stuff.
So is the heat like being, let's say, in Atlanta, Georgia, or is it hotter than Atlanta, Georgia?
It's like the South. I mean, it's like I said earlier, on the temperature scale, you know, you see 80s, but really it feels like 90s, you know, because of the humidity.
I see the big buildings in the background. Are you far from downtown Panama City right now while you're enjoying this pool?
You know, it's funny because the city is laid out kind of interesting, where it doesn't really, it has a downtown area, but it also has an old town. It has 2 old towns, Casco, Antiguo, they like to call it now, instead of Viejo. So it's a tourist thing to do. You know, the towers, the buildings, they have several sections in the city. It's kind of interesting to go to. I preferred the older section of Caledonia. It's not as touristy and it's poorer, but there's more bargains. It's more original. But to each his own. Not everyone's going to be able to be comfortable in that kind of area, and you do have to be careful. There are, if you go a little too far over, you'll spill over into a neighborhood you shouldn't be walking around. So, not recommended for your average tourist. But we're seasoned South American, Central American, you know, do-it-yourself travelers, you know. Now, what else is there to say about Panama City? You know, it's laid out interesting. It's got 2 old sections. It's got.
What about the smog?
It's got a tourist section. Oh, that's another thing. I was very pleasantly surprised, for as big a city that this is, and as much traffic as there is, because you can be walking on that coastal belt, and there's like 4 lanes going up and down, and there's just not that smog smell that you get in some big cities, where you're walking around and you smell that exhaust, and it's not there. And it could be that it's facing the bay, so it's open to the bay. So the city's open to the bay, and I think that's what's happening, is this exhaust is just got lots of room. It's not getting trapped between colonial buildings or something like that. So it's amazingly clean. The air is amazing. Also, the bus system has been updated, so there's not a bunch of old buses now. They phased that out, so there are some. There's still a few old buses. They called Red Devils. They're pretty amazing, lowrider style. They're really amazing to look at. They've got amazing huge mufflers on them. Of course, they belch out lots of black smoke, but there's so few of those that they're inconsequential. You don't see it too much unless you're right next to one.
You said earlier today that one of the reasons why you think there's less smog too is because there's a bay and it just gets disintegrated.
It's open. The city's open. It's got an open feel. It's got a big bay area.
There's no mountains or anything around here.
You know, it's stormy, so I think the stormy is always blowing air, and it's just, I don't know, it just feels really clean air. The air conditioning, you know, the Central and South American construction that is the older construction that's not up to the latest ventilation standards, where it becomes a problem in areas without central heat and air. But in Panama City, since it's tropical, you've got the air conditioning on all the time, and that's not necessarily the best thing for you, but it's drying the air out. So in a way, it's complementary. It's not complementary, but it's making up for the lack of ventilation it's drying out the air. So it's a little healthier, although air conditioning is not the healthiest. The best setup would be to just have the warmer weather, to have the ventilation and open windows but not need air conditioning. But second best is to have air conditioning. But anyway, I find the air to be real healthy. The food is typical Central American, which we're used to from being in Ecuador. What I like about the tropical is you get to enjoy water. You can do water stuff.
Don't splash too much with the camera.
And can you think of anything else? Transportation's pretty good. The weather's hot and tropical.
Well, I think because it rains a lot here, the city has a lot of trees and green in it, and I like that.
Good point.
It's very greenish.
The way it looks is not necessarily like mountainous, picturesque, not that kind, but it's a place where there's large trees. They're getting plenty of water because of the rain, tropical rain, and the trees are large. There is shade, and that's always nice in a hot area to have shade. It's not like a hot area that's deserty and no shade, like some areas. And so it's nice to see big trees. A lot of cities are all cement. It's all you see is a bunch of cement. But Panama City has a lot of trees, a lot of bushes, a lot of really pretty trees all the time because it rains. Bushes, plants, flowers all the time because of the rain.
Can somebody live in Panama City in these buildings right here, say on their $1,500 to $1,800 retirement check?
No, I don't think so. Not in the big fancy newest buildings. They're so expensive that it would just for the rent it would take up pretty much all your check.
So what is the
check.
rents in these tower apartment buildings that we're looking at in the background? What's the rents in those on average?
Well, on the low end they're about $1,000, but on the high end, depending on if it's waterfront and how big it is, you can go all the way up to $3,500, $4,500. So it's pretty ridiculous. But that's for larger ones. I mean, but you can get a little
two-bedroom, say two-bedroom, two-bath.
Little tiny 1,000 square foot apartment for, if it's waterfront, it's going to be at least $1,500, $1,800. If it's not waterfront, you can go down to maybe $1,000. If you go lower than that, you might be getting some old stuff, that most people don't want. Yeah, it's not a budget destination. It's but there are budget hotels, but they're going to be in the poorer section, but they're clean. You can get internet, and that's another thing. The internet's really good. They seem to understand Wi-Fi routers in the hallways, so everybody can have in-room internet for people like us that always seem to have stuff to do online. And that's another thing I forgot to mention, that it's very wired, very internet friendly. So
okay, well, are you enjoying Panama City?
I'm enjoying the change in weather, the fresh air, the summer feeling, and get the chill, get rid of the chill. Forgot what that is.
Okay, well, we have a lot of videos to share with our viewers, so we'll have a lot more.
Thanks for watching. Frank and Angie, Panama City, Panama. Discover CuencaEcuador.com. Goodbye. Have a nice day.